All right, Padawan, so question for you. Is 2023 the year that Microsoft finally signs the dotted line on the biggest deal in gaming history? Well, that's what we're here to answer today on the Holocron Minute. And I've got an article for you guys this evening. It's from Tom Warren over at The Verge. Now, this morning we just found out that the FTC got blocked to stop the ABK and Microsoft acquisition deal. And what that means is we could potentially see Microsoft move forward without having the jurisdiction from the CMA, because now in America, the FTC, they can go right over them. So let's get into this article from Tom and let's see what the buzz is about with the Activision Blizzard acquisition. All right. So he writes, a California judge is allowing Microsoft to close its acquisition of Activision Blizzard after 5 days of grueling testimony. Microsoft still faces an ongoing antitrust case by the Federal Trade Commission, but Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley has listened to arguments from both the FTC and Microsoft and decided to deny the regulator's request for a preliminary injunction. In a ruling submitted today, Judge Corley said the following, quote, Microsoft's acquisition of Activision has been described as the largest in tech history. It deserves scrutiny. That scrutiny has paid off. Microsoft has committed in writing, in public, and in court to keep all of Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years on parity with Xbox. It made an agreement with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Switch, and it entered several agreements to, for the first time, bring Activision's content to several cloud gaming services. This court's responsibility in this case is narrow. It is to decide if, notwithstanding these current circumstances, the merger should be halted, perhaps even terminated, pending resolution of the FTC administrative action. For the reasons explained, the court finds the FTC has not shown a likelihood it will prevail on its claim this particular vertical merger in the specific industry may substantially lessen competition. To the contrary, the record evidence points to more consumer access to Call of Duty and other Activision content. The motion for a preliminary injunction is therefore denied. End quote. Judge Corley has clearly sided with Microsoft on its commitments to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation and even extend the game to Nintendo Switch. Despite the FTC challenging Microsoft's cloud agreements, Judge Corley took them into consideration in her decision. The court ruling even agrees with Microsoft in theory about the Nintendo Switch being part of the console market, but also accepts the FTC can reasonably claim it's not. Judge Corley has also agreed with the FTC that the console market does not include PCs. In a statement following Judge Corley's decision, Microsoft President Brad Smith said the company was, quote, grateful to the court in San Francisco for this quick and thorough decision and hope other jurisdictions will continue working towards a timely resolution, end quote. Xbox head Phil Spencer, a key witness in the trial, also tweeted a reaction, quote, we're grateful to the court for swiftly deciding in our favor. The evidence showed that Activision Blizzard's deal is good for the industry, and the FTC's claims about console switching, multi-game subscription services, and cloud don't reflect the realities of the gaming market, said Spencer. Activision Blizzard has also reacted to the decision. Quote, our merger will benefit consumers and workers, Bobby Bitch-Kotick, Activision Blizzard CEO, said in a statement. Quote, it will enable competition rather than allow entrenched market leaders to continue to dominate our rapidly growing industry, end quote. In a statement, FTC spokesperson Douglas Farrar said the FTC was still planning its next move. Quote, we are disappointed in the outcome given the clear threat this merger poses to open competition in cloud gaming, subscription services, and consoles. In the coming days, we'll be announcing our next step to continue our fight to preserve competition and protect consumers, end quote, said Farrar. The judge's ruling now allows Microsoft to close its Activision Blizzard deal ahead of the July 18th deadline, but only if the company is willing to close around the UK or if the Competition and Markets Authority is willing to negotiate some form of remedy. The UK regulator moved to block Microsoft's proposed acquisition in April, and Microsoft is currently appealing that decision with a hearing set to start on July 28th. MLex reported last month that Microsoft was exploring options to close the deal despite the UK block, which, in part, spooked the FTC enough to request an injunction in the first place. The CMA also filed to try and delay Microsoft's appeal of its Activision Blizzard acquisition decision with a request right in the middle of the FTC versus Microsoft hearing. The Competition Appeal Tribunal shut the request down as it would have pushed the appeal process from July to October, quote, contrary to justice and fairness. All right, guys, so I think that's where we're going to end here because that pretty much gives us all of what we need to discuss here and what is going on with this merger and with this deal. So basically right now, we have gotten a clear from the judge here in the States that FTC cannot stop this from going on. Now, that is a big decision made, right? Because not only was there a hearing and did we go through a grueling 5 days of, bouncing back and forth questions from each side and trying to get the evidence to show, what makes sense and what doesn't based on cloud gaming. That doesn't matter anymore because the judge came into Microsoft's favor and said, you know what? I don't believe that what the FTC is bringing to me, the evidence that they or lack thereof, is detrimental to the cloud gaming space, at least from how it's been presented to me. And I've got to say, what she said about this makes total sense here. And I love that she says, it actually seems like, on the contrary, there is even more access to Activision Blizzard games if this merger goes through. So what are you talking about, FTC? I don't get it. Now, y'all know this. I am a PlayStation person at heart. My boy right over there, the purple PlayStation 5. Whew, I love it. Come on. I'm going to play you later. Anyway, sorry. My point is, I love my PlayStation, but I also like Xbox, and I love games as a whole in general. So I want things to go well for all of these parties involved. Now, to hear that, Call of Duty is coming to Nintendo, yes, that tells me, okay, Microsoft is already trying to get this game and other Activision games in hands of people who normally wouldn't be able to play those games. So that's a plus right there. When you're telling me that they're going to let Call of Duty come to PlayStation for at least 10 years on parity, which means it's going to be the exact same version of Call of Duty that's going to be across every console. Well, we'll say Xbox and PlayStation, because Switch is not going to be able to run those games the way that the Xbox and PlayStation can, obviously. But my point is, they are going to be getting the exact same version on PlayStation that we're going to be getting on Xbox if this merger goes through. Already been said, already been done. Now, we've already discussed on the JMR podcast how, I feel like they are doing a lot and they're jumping through hoops a lot to try to get this through. But still, what she says is accurate. From everything that we know, based in writing, in word of mouth, in public, in court, that Microsoft has said it's going to provide more access to these games. So, I'm sorry, FTC, you haven't given me any reason to think that this is going to be bad for competition in the cloud gaming space. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think it is. I'm not worried about this. I hear a lot of people saying that they're worried about Microsoft getting Activision Blizzard and, having them a part of the fold. The only thing that I take issue with here is the fact that we see PlayStation and how they curate their teams, right? They go out and they get small teams because they have the same drive, the same vision that PlayStation Studios does, right? That's why they bring them in the fold. That's why they become a part of the PlayStation family. And it seems like Microsoft is like, we haven't been making good games, so we're going to buy studios that we know for a fact make good games. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the only issue I take with this. But nothing about, this going to be bad for competition. I don't see that. And again, you can see that just based on how Phil has been going about trying to get this deal over and get this across the finish line. And you can see that based on just everything else. The Nintendo Switch thing is the biggest deal for me, is that the fact that you've committed to bring Call of Duty to the Switch that barely can run anything because it's inferior hardware at this point. I'm sorry if you want to get mad at me in the comments. I do apologize. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be harsh or anything, but the fact of the matter is the hardware that's inside of the Nintendo Switch is not up to snuff. It wasn't up to snuff even with last generation stuff. At the very beginning in 2017, yeah, it was good, but even then when it launched, it was already launching at a lower state than what it should have because the components in there just weren't powerful enough. And now we're 6 years later. Come on, bro. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I believe that they're going to try to get this deal across the line. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting to see. Now, obviously, we've been dealing with this. I mean, I started my podcast, and this was one of the first things that I discussed on the podcast was this deal, because it's, again, like I said at the top, this is one of the biggest deals in the gaming history. In all of the gaming industry, there has not been a bigger game deal or bigger acquisition than this right here. $69.7 billion. 69.7. Come on, man. That's not chump change, man. All right? That's some big balling money. Big ballers over there at Microsoft, okay? Now, again, is that why people are scared? Because they've already bought Bethesda. Now they're going for ABK? Maybe. Maybe that is the case. All I see is it's them trying to level the playing field. And that's what the narrative has been. They're trying to level level out that play field, make sure that they can at least stay afloat alongside PlayStation. And again, that might sound a little fanboyish. I apologize, because I'm not trying to be, but that is the reality of it. PlayStation has amazing exclusives. That's why I went and got a PlayStation first. I literally sat on this couch right over here, and I sat there and I watched both showcases. And I'm saying on the run-up to the launch of these next-generation consoles, I watched both showcases, and I'm like, okay, which one am I going to get? I already knew what the Xbox looked like because they had let us know, about 6 months in advance. But I wanted to know what the PlayStation looked like. And then once the PlayStation showcase dropped, that was it. You showed me Spider-Man Miles Morales. They showed me Stray. They showed me Forspoken. And I was like, take my money. I'm in. And then, not only that, those were just the games. Then we get the console itself. Console looks amazing. I love the console. And again, now we are getting fanboy. I apologize. We're talking about Xbox. I'm talking about PlayStation. But anyway, I love the look of that console. So that is what drove me to it as well. But the games are what got me there. Let me tell you this, though. What got me to get that Xbox Series X that's sitting on the other side is the Bethesda deal. When I heard that they were trying to buy Bethesda and get them under their belt, that is where I was like, oh, snap, bro. No, you didn't, Xbox. Okay, well, I guess I've got to get an Xbox now. Exclusive sell consoles. You can try to deny it. You can try to say that that's not the case. Exclusive sell consoles. So when Microsoft did that, they were solidifying that you need an Xbox. You want to play Bethesda titles, you're going to need to get an Xbox. And listen, nobody can play Spider-Man except for PlayStation owners. Spider-Man is a huge IP. I'm sorry, it's bigger than anything that Bethesda is going to do because of how many different industries Spider-Man can touch. Toys, movies, TV, all of these different industries. Shirts, merch. You see what I'm saying? Like, all of these different things are Spider-Man. Everybody knows Spider-Man. My 3.5-year-old loves Spider-Man. She knows who Miles Morales is. She knows who Ghost Spider is. She is 3.5. Spider-Man is huge. Do you think she knows what Starfield is? Do you think she knows what Fallout is? I would hope that she doesn't. I would really hope that she doesn't. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, this is the exclusive sell consoles. And I think Microsoft is finally understanding that. And they're trying to, again, shorten that gap between them and PlayStation. This is what's going to do that. So I don't take offense in this. I don't take, I'm not weary about this decision, about this acquisition. I am very much excited for it. I want ABK to be under Xbox. Number one, first and foremost, let's get Bobby Kotick out of there. He's a bitch. I don't like him. Let's get him out. I'm sorry. He is running that business into the ground. And again, running it into the ground is one thing because they obviously make a shit ton of money. I'm not saying that he's running the business itself, but he's running the people who are making that business into the ground, and it's not okay. So he needs to get out. And if that means if the fastest way to make that happen is Xbox acquiring them, getting him out, giving him his little severance, golden parachute BS, and let him fly down and hopefully break a leg, fine. You know what? Do what you got to do. But at least he's out of here now. You know what I mean? That's the best thing that's going to come out of this deal. Hands down, 100%. But guys, I think that's all I've got for you today, all right? So this has been another Holocron Minute, and this has been another Holocron Minute. I have been your host, Jedi Master Ren, and as always, I will see you next time in the halls of the Jedi Gaming Academy. May the Force be with you.